PLD Projects presents Holy Snokes, the Star Wars podcast, featuring PLD and Matty Gunner. May the Force be with you, always. Hey, it's me, it's PLD.
And I'm Matty Gunner, and this is class. Oh no, wait, that was yesterday, and you weren't there, and there was Javi, and I felt very much like a certain clone in this episode that I was left on my own.
Oh, solitary clone, if you were.
I was a solitary clone yesterday.
Well, I'm sorry I betrayed you and left you on your own. But I've
come
here
to
now.
expect it from you. It's Javi that I'm most wounded by.
I am a bit of a scoundrel. I'm not going to lie. I do have a certain affinity for the
original scoundrel.
Roguish behavior. I am. That's right, the OG scoundrel. But good to see you, my friend, Matty. How are you doing today? Now that we're a day past that,
I'm doing really good because Star Wars put me in a really good mood today.
Which is funny to me because this is not exactly a happy episode, happy-go-lucky episode.
It just it ticked all the boxes and just made me feel like, oh, okay, this is good. This episode will shut a few people up for a while.
Yeah, that's probably well, hopefully it will. But I will say this: absolutely, this is an episode which definitely moved the plot needle, so to speak, forward a little bit. Got us a little in depth with some of the stuff that is most interesting to a broader audience in the Bad Batch. Because it's not just the Bad Batch; it's more galaxy-wide consequences and things of that nature. A lot of stuff going on, and some surprising things even for me. I feel like sometimes. I know where things. I kind of tell where things are going. I can see something coming up depending on like the title of the episodes or things going on. There's some things in there that kind of threw me for a loop, and I kind of was intrigued by it.
Yeah, same. And I feel like the two episodes that we got before these kind of added to the overall vibe of it more because they were kind of what we call enhancement episodes. And it was kind of just like, oh, okay, where are we going with this?
Right.
Like, you guys should be doing more.
Right.
And it put us in Echo's shoes. And now I'm like, I get it now. Like, I get what Echo was saying because it's like, why are you going off on treasure hunts when this is going on?
Right. Your own family, really, your own people, your own brothers, in a way. I agree. I like those fun adventures. Don't get me wrong, I love those fun adventures. I had a grand old time the past couple of weeks. I thought it was great. Got to develop, like we mentioned last week, got to develop some of these characters a little more. Got to put them in different places and see what they're made of and where they're going. But yeah, this is a kind of a more push forward episode. We're going to see. I mean, at least the second part is. The first part we don't even see the Bad Batch.
It's like those adventures and those side things kind of added to the level, the brevity of these two episodes, because it's like, okay, you guys have been off gallivanting and doing treasure hunts and riot racing, while the rest of your brothers and your people are going through some serious ish right now.
Well, like I said also before, I believe I said this last week. I think on this show, actually. I can't remember if it was just in my head or not. But I feel like the enhancement episodes also serve a grander purpose in terms of it makes these episodes that much more important, that much more exciting. Because if you have it up at a level 10 the entire time, then it's like not special. When you have this kind of like ups and downs, ebbs and flows, all of a sudden these episodes become critical and even that much more exciting. Like, oh, okay, here we are. We're going somewhere deep on this one.
Yeah, it's like I say every week. The Bad Batch has gone from everyone being like, "Oh, we didn't ask for this," and now it's like this is the perfect line between Andor and Bad Batch and Clone Wars. Like this walks that tightrope absolutely perfectly, and these two episodes speak to that completely.
I can't believe we're halfway through. I feel like this is blowing by so quickly.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god! I mean, we don't know if we have a season 3 or not at this point. Haven't heard anything yet on a way. I hope maybe it's hoping it's a celebration announcement. I kind of feel like we got to have at least one more season to finish it out. Hopefully,
you would hope.
You'd hope. You never know. But either way, Yeah, it's just going by really quickly. I'm gonna miss these guys when they're gone, so I'm trying to enjoy every episode and
Mm,
getting my son to watch them now. We're in season one. I did the Clone Wars
nice.
first. We're now in season one of the rewatch. For me, the watch the first time. We just watched the Mushi episode yesterday. Had a lot of fun with
Mm,
Mushi. Uh, so yeah, I love where this is going, and we're going to talk more about the episodes later on in the show. Of course, that's how we do things on Holy Snokes. We open up with some news bits, maybe a secondary topic, although not this week, just the news bits today. And we'll go do a deep dive into both Bad Batch episodes, and then we'll talk about at the end. We'll talk about a little special thing the Holy Snokes is doing.
oh yeah.
It's a lot of fun, so stay tuned for that. And while you're here, click your subscribe, click that like, all that good stuff. You'll find out what's happening tomorrow, this week, later on, perhaps. Who knows? But we have that modest goal of 500 subscribers. If you can get us there, I'd be greatly appreciated. Help us get it there. I know one person can't jump us the whole 100, 150 we need, but everyone counts. Everyone counts. So. But without further ado, let's get into those news bits.
Mm,
Okay, the first, we have about 5 news bits we're going to touch base on today. The first one, Joseph Shirley is the new composer for The Mandalorian season 3. According to Star Wars Newsnet, which is where I gather all my news. I like them. I'm going to give them a lot of plugs because they seem to have a great basis of, well, this is fact. This is strong rumor. This is speculation. They divide it up very nicely and let you know where this lies. And this seems to be very factual at this point. That Joseph Shirley is replacing Ludwig Göransson. And I know I'll start off and say I was initially flabbergasted and kind of sad about it until I looked a little deeper. I found out that I didn't even realize that the Book of Boba Fett wasn't Ludwig Göransson. It was actually Joseph Shirley scoring it, and it didn't really feel like it missed that much of a beat to me, to be honest with you. And secondly, of course, Joseph Shirley being on Ludwig Göransson's team, so to speak, so it really is keeping it in the family. So as I read through the article more, I kind of felt like, oh, you know what? It's good to see the guy get a good chance to do the main Filoni and Favreau verse show. Maybe a couple years from now, we'll get somebody else doing it, and we'll be mad that Joseph Shirley is being replaced. What do you think?
I had the same reaction when you told me because I was like, wait, what? Ludwig's not doing it? Because you think the iconic Mandalorian theme. I'll be honest, the first couple of times, and I was actually talking to my best friend Ryan about this the other day. The first couple of times I heard the Mandalorian theme, I was like, huh? What is this? And then one day I was just out for a walk and then it came on randomly on shuffle. And I was just walking as the dun 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 dun. And I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. Now I get, yep, and now it's clicked. And Ludwig's a busy boy. Ludwig is a very busy boy. He did the entire score and soundtrack for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and now he's doing Oppenheimer, which you got to imagine the scale of that movie. That's going to be taking up quite a bit of his time. I know he's got a fairly small team, so entrusting something like The Mandalorian, I don't think if he'd have said, look, if I can't do it, don't give it to someone else. Let one of my guys do it because they can get it as close to what I envisioned as possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 notes on that. First of all, I was exactly the same way. I first heard the Mandalorian theme and Ludwig's theme, and I was like, this didn't feel like Star Wars at all. I was not a fan. I was like, I miss John Williams. I miss Kevin Kiner, even because Kevin Kiner had did a great job with the animated series, kind of like building on Williams. This is something very different. I was not a fan. I was like, this sounds more like Rocky than it does Star Wars, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But
Almost like a
then,
spaghetti western, which is like what it
what
is.
it is,
It's kind of more Morricone than
right?
Williams.
But I don't even know when that happened. I can't pinpoint a place it happened in my life. But all of a sudden, nowadays, probably before season 2 started, after season 1, I was like, okay, I'm all in. I'm enjoying the hell out of this. This is good, and became just part of my Star Wars universe as any other John Williams track. Really, to be honest with you. So yeah, it's. I mean, John Williams. Let me say, John Williams is here, and everybody else is still down here for me. And it's not a slight on Ludwig that John Williams is the GOAT, but at least it fit into the Star Wars universe, and I accepted it for what it was, so to speak.
The Morricone influence just clicked in my head because you have the to the.
Absolutely.
It's like,
Absolutely.
whoa, that is straight out of the Morricone playbook.
It really is. It really is. Good catch. I like that. The last thing I want to say about that, also one thing that made me feel better about it, and again, this was considered rumor. I guess Gorington was rumored, according to Star Wars Newsnet's article, to not have been as heavily involved in season 2, except for a few specific moments, such as Luke's entrance in the finale. Spoiler alert now for Mandalorian season 2. So if that's the case, then maybe Joseph's been doing more than we even knew about, and this is more just like an official coronation, more official passing of the torch, so to speak. So if that's the case, then let's see how it works.
Yeah, and that's crazy, like it being like him passing it down, because Ludwig's career is not that old, but he's done so much good stuff now so far that it's just been like, well, if you co-sign on this guy, who are we to say no?
Absolutely. And getting more composers involved is not a bad thing, because obviously we're seeing Star Wars Project explode. We're getting more and more things. We got a couple new shows coming up. We got Ahsoka, we got Skeleton Crew. We got more that way. We got movies that are being bandied about now and everything else. Hopefully more animated series. Hopefully Kevin Conner can get involved more. So having more artists available at your disposal can only be a good thing. So yeah.
I'm available, Lucasfilm.
That's, you know what, you said you couldn't do a John Williams like score, so we gave it to David B, but maybe you can do more with Ludwig score. Maybe you can handle that.
Oh, for sure. Yeah that Ludwig's more up my alley than John Williams.
Fair enough. That's not even not saying it's a bad thing, because there's not many who can fill the shoes of John Williams, but
no. David B could, but
he did a good job. All right, let's move on to the next news bit we got. The Acolyte Writers Room included House of the Dragons, and I apologize for saying his name correctly or not, I don't know, Charmaine Degrate. I'm not sure if that's how I say it, but Degrate with the accent on the E. Now, she, like I said, she has been part of the House of the Dragon staff. She wrote the 5th episode from House of the Dragon, I believe, which is the episode where it opened up with Matt Smith killing his wife. I'm excited about this because House of the Dragon, as you all know, if you've listened to PLD projects and class action, things of that nature, I love House of the Dragons. I've had a grand old time with House of the Dragon. It's a lot of fun, a lot of a great storytelling exercise. And you're telling me one of the writers involved in that first season, which was pretty note perfect overall for me, is involved in this series as well as in this series. Sign me up. That's a good thing. Having more positive artists in your writing room, sign me up.
Yeah. It's very well documented that I have never watched Game of Thrones. I have only watched House of the Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that show. That show is right now, the shows that have come out recently, it's Andor, The Last of Us, House of the Dragon. Like those are the top 3 shows that have come out in the last, I'd say, couple years for me. So as someone who went in completely blind, knowing nothing about the Targaryens, knowing nothing about Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon grabbed me every single episode. I was like, okay, what's going to happen next?
Yeah.
What's Damon going to do?
Yeah.
And maybe I'm hoping on hope. This is probably not going to happen, but this is one step closer to us getting Matt Smith as young Palpatine.
We were so close. We were so close in Rise of Skywalker. I would love to see it still. I think there's the possibility we could have it happen somewhere down the line. We have a lot of projects to go. Also, just we all know, she was also the writing room of CW's 100. She also penned the script for Colin Trevorrow's upcoming Atlantis, which is going to be interesting to see, and also the upcoming series Daisy Jones and the Six. So, anyway, I'm excited about that. I'm happy about that. More talent is always a great thing. Let's move on to the other bits of news we do have in here. I'll start talking. We had the news and new guests were added for Celebration. I'm not going to touch base on this too much, but this is more for you, Matty, than anybody else. We got Silas Carson, of course, best known for Kia de Mundi, amongst others. Aiden Cook playing Two Tubes. Gwendolyn Christie, Captain Phasma herself. Jonas Suotamo, our new Chewbacca. Ming-Na Wen, of course, Fennec Shan. And Matthew Wood, of course, General Grievous, and Roger, all of the droid voices, amongst other things he did.
You, I believe you have had an interaction with Matthew Wood in the past.
I did. I didn't look into the article too much. I know this is one of the ones you pay to get an autograph and get a photo with. But
I think it is, yeah.
I got mine for free on the Orlando Celebration in 2017. Just the convention floor. I was walking by myself, just randomly to the floor. I saw somebody walk by. I'm like, that looks a lot like Matthew Wood from the documentaries I'd watched, from the prequel documentaries and everything. I'm like, No, he's not surrounded by anybody. No one's even like paying attention to him. No one's even noticing him. So I kind of go up to him like, hey, Matthew Wood? He's like, yeah. Got a selfie with him. One of the nicest guys. I was actually flabbergasted. I was like starstruck a little bit. Couldn't even get my selfie thing to work. I kept pressing the wrong button. I'm getting nervous. Like, fuck. I'm like, oh, damn, yeah, buddy. Yeah. And he's like, all right, cool. I'm like, all right, cool. I got it. He was a really nice guy. And I love Matthew Wood's work overall. His boy Grievous, all the droids he's done, all the sound stuff he's done. What a great guy to have in Lucasfilm. I'm glad he's still a part of the family, so to speak.
Yeah, I love when the guests do that, because at Anaheim, I think I saw Ashley Eckstein walking around in the crowd at least 4 times. Just walking around like among the people being fairly respectful, kind of like leaving her be. Obviously she was like stopping, taking pictures with cosplayers and little kids that recognize her and stuff. But I always think it's cool when they do that. The paid photographs thing, I've been fairly vocal on that. I feel like getting your picture taken for hundreds of pounds. I mean, I looked at the price to take a picture with Hayden was like £200 for like a 30-second photo. But I get that, like a lot of people love that, because they're like, hey, I want to meet this person, get a photo. I mean, I got suckered in with this one. Like I paid out to meet Mads Mikkelsen, because I never know when I'm gonna meet. I'm probably never gonna bump into Mads Mikkelsen in the street. So I was like, call me a hypocrite, whatever. I'm down. But yeah.
No, people love it. Some people love it. I mean, it's definitely very expensive, and I think eventually someday it's going to have to give. But it is a business, and it does well. I don't blame the talent itself. I don't know if they set the price. I don't think they set the prices. I think that's a company that usually does it. Things of that nature. I'm not sure how it goes.
I think Reed Pop
Right.
said it, and I believe this is their last year doing Celebration.
it?
So we're gonna see if the
Interesting.
prices are gonna change.
Or maybe. But either way, I'm not gonna blame anybody either. I will say on a additional note to what you had said before about the about Ashley Eckstein. That was another thing that was cool. I didn't get any pictures at the time, but the overnight panel, the overnights we slept over for the 40th anniversary panel. Everybody's in we were sleeping on concrete, waiting on a line, and Ashley Eckstein came out during that. Ray Park came out during that.
Nice.
Ryan Johnson came out during that just to shoot the shit. I mean, I got a nice little. I got to find a picture for you. Ray Park is like just got over the side of the circle and started just twirling
that would be so sick.
Just grabbed somebody's lightsaber and just started playing with it. And I'm like, this is fucking cool. I'm watching Darth Maul in front of me just doing moves. That's pretty cool. So yeah, Celebration's a great time. I miss going to it. I can't wait to go to it again. Hopefully next time. But all right, I got 2 more pieces of news before we start getting into the Bad Batch. We got, first of all, Jedi Survivor showing 9 minutes of gameplay. This is all you, my friend. Tell me about this.
This was unexpected, I think, obviously because of the delay, and I apologize if you hear like a noise in my background. There's like I have a problem with my boiler at the moment, so I apologize if you guys hear like a whirring sound in the background. Yeah, it looks awesome. There's a lot more new gameplay, like action types, which is awesome. My biggest fear was, are we going to get Cal losing his abilities in the Force, and we're going to have to learn to do the double jump again, and we're going to have to learn to do the Force push again, blah, blah, blah. That would take away a lot from the story. That's not the case. There's a lot of new fighting styles. Seeing BD-1 battle droids as like one of the main adversaries that you have to face in like this. I believe this is the first planet that you see in the footage that was shown. Yeah, I'm not crazy on the having to kill animals to fill up your force meter, because that seems very un-Jedi. Yeah, it seems kind of beyond the point of being a Jedi.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, the gameplay looked seamless, looked awesome. Yeah, bring on April.
All right, cool. Again, I'm not much of a player. I keep thinking maybe I should try it out, but I don't, because that's just my life. I'm just too old for this. As it goes, otherwise known as I put it down, I would not get up from it for like 25 hours. So he like holding off my own inability to regulate, so to speak. All right, final bit of news we'll get into before we get into the Bad Batch talk through here. New Kira-centric novel by E.K. Johnston was announced, entitled Crimson Climb. And if we look at the artwork, we see it's a younger Kira, has Hans Dice. She's got the jacket on her. It seems like it's going to take place pre solo Star Wars story. That's what I think. In between the time where she was on Corellia and to where she joined Crimson Dawn, I guess it would make sense. That's the title: Climb Up the Crimson Dawn. So it means you might get to see. You might see one Darth Maul in this at some point in this novel, which would be fun. I don't know though. I got to be honest with you. I always try to be positive here. We always try to be positive here. We're very positive Star Wars, and we like what you like, love what you love. But obviously, not everything is for everybody. And no offense meant to E.K. Johnston, but her writing hasn't connected with me as much as others. The Ahsoka book was fine. I wasn't thrilled with the Ahsoka book. I wasn't thrilled with any of the other stuff that she's done so far. It's not bad. I haven't said, oh, I can't stand this book. It just wasn't really one that I kind of got bored through some of it and just didn't connect with me. So having her write this story is it's a little disappointing for me. I kind of would rather see somebody else do it. Of course, truth be told, I'd rather see a series. I'd really see. I want to see a lot. We have Amelia Clark right there. She wants to do more. Give her a live action series. We can discuss all of this. Although at the same time, maybe get the book, maybe get the series. What happens after, like the Solo 2 sort of series, so to speak. Maybe that's what we can get. But I'll read it nonetheless because I definitely like the character. I love the time frame. I love how it builds up to Solo. I'm very interested to see the stuff that Crimson Dawn is made of, and more of Crimson Dawn, especially since we've had the comic books going through there where she was in charge. So it's an interesting arc for her. So what are your thoughts?
Like you, me with E.K. Johnston, I liked the Ahsoka book. I didn't love it. Queen's Shadow, Queen's Peril, and Queen's, I can't remember the third one.
Gambit, I think.
Queen's Gambit, wasn't that the TV show?
That could be. I don't remember.
But again, that just speaks to the point I'm about to make of there was some good there was some good parts in those books, but ultimately they didn't land and they didn't land and stick with me.
Right.
But
yeah.
I don't know, and I don't know. The whole Crimson Dawn thing is obviously because of Darth Maul being my favorite character. I want it handled with care. I don't get gatekeepery about Star Wars very often, but when it comes to Maul and the story around Crimson Dawn and Maul's rise to power, I'm like, just please do it well. Right. I don't ask for much. I am very much of a just give me Star Wars. I'll like what I'll like. I don't care what I don't. But this one little bit, I'm like, just please.
I get that.
Please take care of this.
I get that. We'll find out. I guess I'm not gonna, like I said before, I will get it either way, and I will probably at least enjoy it overall. I mean, it won't be a waste of time. I don't think any of the books, the Queen trilogy, I don't know the titles. They're all similar titles, so I just kind of got the way. They were still enjoyable enough. I just, it's not something I'm going to go back to a lot. That's all. I'm not going to go back to it like I would some of the other novels, perhaps. So we'll see. Maybe she'll surprise us.
Queen's Shadow. Sorry,
Shadow.
It was Queen's Shadow, Queen's Hope, and Queen's Peril.
That's it. And they're good. They're good. Okay, let's move on then. We are going to go on to the next step of the show, the meat and potatoes of this episode. Obviously, we had a 2-episode drop last night for the Bad Batch. We got episodes 7 and 8 of the second season, The Clone Conspiracy, Truth and Consequences. These were definitely released together as a mid-season event. I mean, in some parts, you would actually call it a mid-season finale if we had the break like sometimes TV shows do. Otherwise, just a mid-season event. But it's great we got these together because they obviously are basically one big episode, one big arc. Really 2-episode length arc. We're going to go through our segments as we usually do, and we'll touch base with we'll have some good conversation about it. Overall, I will say I love the episode, like I mentioned earlier on in the episode, at the top of the episode. But let's go through it now with our segments. The first segment we ever do on every show, Honda Watch 2023.
Who wants to see Honda's book? Talk to me!
It's very simple. Does Hondo Ohnaka appear in either episode, Clone Conspiracy or Truth and Consequences? In this case,
this effort is no longer profitable.
It goes on. Hondo Watch continues. We are to not get Hondo Ohnaka. I will say, one of the rare times that it probably is better we did not have him, because it would not have fit the tone
What?
of the. It would not fit the tone of the episodes per se.
What? I
Let's
thought
be
he would have fit perfectly into this one.
Really, you think that, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
You want to get a senator off world? Who else are you gonna call?
I meant his sense of humor was very much a
Okay.
going against the seriousness tone of the episode. This is not a very fun adventure stuff.
I'm just trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Pretty much. You know what? If he did appear, I wouldn't argue about it. I wouldn't complain about it. Let's be honest with you. We will have him. We will have him before the end of the year, or 2023 is up, some way, shape, or form. Okay, let's move on then to the next segment, mission briefing.
What do you need, Rex? Any chance I could use you for a mission?
Hey, it's from this episode. It's very from this episode. So dialogue was a little different. Did you notice that?
I did, yeah. When the clip was coming up, I was like, ah, there it is. And then it was like, can we use your skill set for a mission? I was like, wait, that's not the line.
What? I've heard it so many times. You got this wrong.
Do you think Rex was just there, just like, line?
That's what it was, pretty much. All right, that's just mission briefing is where I just kind of touch base with I'll give you the overall summary, not too deep a dive, just so we know where we are, where we stand. Basically, this was a clone. This reminded me a lot of the Fives arc in the Clone Wars, which makes sense. It's a conspiracy about clones.
Yeah.
Same similar type of feel to it.
And also the Ryloth arc in the last season of Bad Batch as well.
Yeah, very similar in a way, very sense tone wise. We get to find more clones. Get to see more clones that are hanging out in that clone bar that we know we've seen a few times before. We get to meet Cade and Slip, who are clones.
Thank you. I was trying to remember their names just then. Like my brain froze. I was like, what were those clones called? And then you just reminded me. Thank you.
No problem. Cade and Slip, also CT0409 was Slip. They are talking about the issues going on. They talk about Camino going on, and they let slide that Camino. Some of them know that Camino wasn't lost in the way Admiral Rampart had reported. It was reported that Camino was lost to storms.
Okay, can I just address that?
Yeah. Sure.
How stupid are the Senate? Camino was wiped out by a storm. It's great because it adds to the Senate and the people will believe any lie that Masameda and Palpatine and the higher ups will feed to them until it's screamed in their face. But Camino, a planet where it rains every day, with cities that are underwater, was wiped out by a storm.
Well, I will. Let me put on minor defense. First of all, I don't think everyone believed it. They just didn't know if they could really talk out about it, because obviously
you know some of them believed it.
Well, some of them believe it too, but think about it. The galaxy is a big place. Do you think like people like the governments of the U.S. know about the small town, like a small town in Texas, maybe something
I
comparatively?
don't even know about the capital city that they bloody well govern.
That's what I'm saying. So it's not exactly out of the realm of that. Given both sides of things that this could go on, but you're not right. You're not wrong. Like he put forward a stupid lie, and people are going to believe, or they're going to not want to fight it because they don't want to end up like Slip and Cade end up, pretty much. So that's kind of how it feels in this time frame of the Empire at this point. So we get the idea that they know what's going on a little bit. They're trying to push for it. We get the idea that Rampart's putting forth an Imperial, I forget the exact name, a defense recruitment bill, where they're basically shoving out the clones and bringing in more stormtroopers. We get to see Rio Chuchi come back, and she joins side with Bail Organa, and also Senator Pomelo, who we first saw, of course, in Rogue One, comes back, and we see them fighting for the clones in a way, fighting for their rights. It becomes really a powerful thing. Like, I know this is almost reactionary to some of what Star Wars community have said, because we've had the clones were obviously built for the Republic for their grand war, but a lot of people said, what happens after the war is done? They've kind of touched base on that, and we've seen like what happened to the Jedi a lot. We've seen what happened to some of the people afterwards, but what does happen to the army that's not needed anymore, that's grown up? We have some Senate that are fighting for it. We got people like Rampart who really just don't give a fuck, pretty much.
It's God. This episode speaks to so many real world issues of like we're like The first world companies like the UK and the US spend so much on our military, yet when they're not needed, the soldiers that fight for that military, the veterans, are just
Yep.
swept under the rug. You're like, thank you for your service. You're
Bye-bye
out the
now.
door. No worry for their potential life and career prospects after they're done. They're just like, thank you for your service. Thank you for putting your life on the line for our country or for this place, our galaxy. See you later. To the point where like Rampart was even like, a pension plan? You want me to give all these clones a pension plan? It's like, bro, that's the least you could give them. Do you know how much gets paid into a pension plan?
Right.
Next to nothing.
Mm-hmm. It's so sad. It's such a sad state of affairs. Well, we learned that obviously going on. We also know that Slip is trying to figure out what's going on, trying to get everybody trying to get the rights and the ideas to the right people so that they can hopefully convince the Senate. Rampart, of course, sends somebody. Of course, when you had Rampart sends, they call him Clone X, Sniper X. I don't think actually was named during the episode. It's just I got that from PD afterwards to take care of the problem with the Cade and Slip. Becomes kind of an issue, of course, at the end of the episode, the first episode, we do get Rex, the return of Rex in a great way, shape, or form. I loved how they did it. I mean, I knew it was something big, but you almost think it's the sniper, the way you first see him real quick, and then all of a sudden it's the reveal that Captain Rex has come to help save the day, to a degree, at least with them. And that's how we kind of end the first episode. Second episode, of course, is about Bad Batch coming. We got that thing. Rex gets them on and says, "We need you for a mission, boys. Come on in." And that's an interesting take of all, because also we get Echo getting to do his stuff. He wants to help. You get Hunter, who's like, "I don't really want to go to Coruscant. I don't want to be like they think we're dead. I want to avoid this situation." It come in that there was no real fight per se, but they kind of had that disagreement of how they mean to do things, where they want to do things. But then it becomes a little game of cat and mouse where they're trying to figure out what's going on. They're trying to get the right, the proof in order to prove that Rampart is lying. It's an adventure. It's a fun action piece. And then we get to the ending where they get what they need. They get what they want. This proof that Rampart had ordered the destruction on Kamino. Of course, Slip said that Slip was on the Venator when it happened, and that Slip had downloaded the Rampart's logs into a backup, the original form before they were altered. We get it shown before the government. Chuchi throws it out there, and yet what happens? Exactly what Palpatine wants every single time. And what a moment that was. We have early last episode, Bale mentioned specifically that Palpatine's never there. He sets it up perfectly. Palpatine's not bothering. And Maz Amade's like, well, he's busy. He knows he's leaving it to you guys. He knows you guys will do a good job. So it's already set up that Palpatine never shows up. This gets put forth. All of a sudden the middle opens up. I swear to God, it felt like Darth Maul in episode 1. I had the same kind of like feeling when the door opened. You're just like, oh shit, something's going down.
Yeah, I had the same feeling because Masameda, like, it was great seeing Masameda, but I was also like, you're just a hand, bro. Like, where's Daddy? When's he coming? When's he back? And as soon as those doors opened down at the bottom, I was like, oh shit, you're in trouble now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when you're at school when you've done something wrong and you hear the head teacher coming down the hallway, you're like, oh, we fucked up.
Mm-hmm.
That snake tongue devil, like when he whispered in Masameda's ear, I don't know if he makes this stuff up as it goes or if he really is a few steps ahead, but it looked to me like he was saying, shut up, let me deal with this.
Right. And I think it might have been.
Because Mas like kind of looked away and he was just like, oh, okay. So I think that was Palpatine being like, do not say a thing. I am going to take care of this and I will deal with you later. Right,
exactly. I think it's honestly a case of both. I think he is steps ahead in most things, but he's also very quick on his feet and is able to turn things around to his favor. He's a career. This is what he does. He's a
career politician.
Career manipulator. He knows exactly what he knows. At the end of the day, he comes on and says, yes, Rampart is a traitor. Rampart is the sacrificial pawn. This was a surprise one for me. Big surprise one for me, where I didn't realize Rampart was going to go so quickly. And I don't know for sure if he's gone. I don't know if he'll reappear later. I don't know. But all of a sudden Rampart, a sacrificial pawn off the board, when he was our main bad guy through most of season 1 and through season 2, and Palpatine
I
uses
like
that
that
and says,
though.
"Yeah,
I
that's
like that
perfect
though
for
because
Palpatine."
it shows that no matter how high up you get, there's only one person that matters in the Empire. Only
Mhm.
one. The rest of you are just chess pieces ready to get wiped off the board. He's the only one that matters. As long as the king is protected,
Yep.
doesn't matter.
And that's it. That's exactly it. If he needs you to be sacrificed in order to get what he wants, what he thinks he needs for the Empire, you're done. You're done.
Mm.
And he gets it though. And it's what was great watching the faces of Bale and Chuchi, and then like, you realize that like I did everything right. And actually, it said it best. It was one of the best moments. I think we've had a great couple episodes with Omega. Her innocence breaks my heart. Like, it's done really well. It could be overdone, but the Bad Batch doesn't let it get overdone. It gets us perfectly done. Like, you get to see her complete innocence, her complete good, just not understanding. But we did everything right. We proved them right. Like, I don't understand, because she doesn't understand. She's still learning that, and that's the saddest bit, is that she still has to learn that you can do the right thing. You can have the greatest of intentions. You can be doing everything morally correct. It doesn't mean you're going to win. It doesn't mean you're going to get. It doesn't mean it's going to get your way, because what's right isn't what happens.
Yeah, it's like she's aged, but there's a difference between like being older but still being fairly young in the way that the world works.
Right.
You can have a very sheltered life like she had, but get to an age where she's like now in her teens and she's just now realizing the other side of humanity. This is like, not everyone is good. Like, not everyone is willing to do the right thing. And here she is finding out people like Palpatine are just pure evil. Like, there is evil at the heart of this system that created her. She is the product of this system that he put in place. All these web of lies and manipulation. She is now realizing, like, not everyone's good. You can't convince everyone to do the right thing.
She got that. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's just like, so you can't convince everyone to do the right thing, because ultimately there are people that are just in it for themselves. And I hope that doesn't take away some of her innocence, because like the way she was looking at Echo at the end was just like, oh man, like that hurt her.
Right. Yeah, no, and that's not it. Not even just Palpatine. We got that a couple times. We got to when we saw the return of Halle Bertoni, for example. I heard that name in the Clone Wars Junkie side, and he goes, "Ooh, that's interesting." Just learning about, like I said before, learning about what we're getting afterwards. See what Halle Bertoni is like after not only after Revenge of the Sith, Episode 3, and Order 66, but after the destruction of Camino, and she's still not a good person, and that's where Omega had her first. So I was like, you don't care about your people, and she just doesn't. She literally doesn't understand it. She cannot wrap her head around it. It's so sad watching. You just want to protect her. It's like you want to be Hunter, and just like for Hunter record, just protect her. You know, it's like, so sad, both sad. But
and yeah, and even seeing, I can't remember the name of the species, but they replaced the moon as the head of the banking clan.
Oh yes,
like seeing them, and like they're just being like, oh no, we support this bill because it helps us. It helps us keep our profit. We don't care about the outer rim and all these insurgents, these rebels. There's the empire always needs an enemy. It always needs, and it's that real world thing of governments and politicians always pointing at someone and saying to the masses, it's the Scarface, bro. It's the Scarface line. It's like, that's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, you need me because that's the bad guy. And another comparison I pulled was a line from A Few Good Men. Like, you sleep under the blanket of protection that I provide, and then you question the manner in which I provide it. It's just like, this episode with these episodes were just so good. So
absolutely good. Ishi Tib, that's the Gani Raduli is an Ishi Tib. That's the new. So we have the ending there. Of course, we have everything is said and done. Rex, of course, they all tried to do everything, but they couldn't. So Rex they're going to try to leave at this point, and then we get the heartbreak, which I was not expecting at all. I mean, I guess I should, because I've been talking about this in the entire time. But Echo decides to leave the batch. he wants to go with Rex because he wants to do more. He'd been trying to push the batch to do more, and Hunter, like you said, you had that ideological difference. Echo wants to do more for the clones of the general public and for the galaxy, whereas Hunter wants to keep the family safe. And it had that kind of like back. It's been a great. I want to say it's been great because like that could have been handled very poorly. That confrontation, it could have been like Echo getting mad at Hunter every week and Hunter getting mad back at him, and like it just like boiled up. But it wasn't that way. It was just done. I felt genuinely as in like I feel this way. I'm gonna disagree with you on this. I'm gonna go this way, to a point where eventually Echo's like, "Look, I love you. I respect you guys. I do. I think you guys are wonderful. I do feel part of your brotherhood, but I can't do what you're doing. I have to. I feel like I have to go help, and going with Rex is the best way I can do that. And that means leaving Omega behind, who." Again, let's break Omega's heart, and she can't stand it. But that was one of the most touching moments in the entire series. Echo and her sharing that moment where Echo's like, "It's not forever. I still love you. I'll always have a place with you. You're always my family." And she's like, "Well, we need you," but she accepts it. And that's the great thing about this as well. Because I'm going to touch base on this. She's never been able to accept loss before. She screamed at them when Hunter sacrifice himself. We're gonna go back. We gotta go back. And she's yelling at them, order them back. And she takes the next time until it, kind of like a Jedi. She couldn't do it. She's grown to the point where after the conversation, she didn't like it, but she did accept it. And she did accept it. And I think it's a big step forward in her character. She knows that Echo has to do this, and she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna let you go do this because you need to." But very sad. Didn't expect that.
I think it's being around Gungi maybe started to rub off on her. I mean, we saw her start meditating, but
I love that beginning for that exact reason. And here's the reason why. I was actually about to go there. I'm glad you brought that up, because I've always kind of held forth that I still believe that she is force sensitive in a way. I'm not saying she's going to be a Jedi. She's not going to be flinging a lightsaber around. She's not going to be starting. It's not going to be like an Ezra thing where by the end of the Bad Batch, she's going to be like one of the most powerful Jedis in the world. No. I think her purpose is to be a force sensitive in terms of to make clones could be force sensitive. But because of that, she does have that little bit of luck here and there. She recognizes when someone's lying. She had that great shot in the first episode of Bad Batch where she shot the gun out of Crosshair's hands. She has these little twinges of moments. She had a couple of them this time. She's meditating. It doesn't work for her like it does for Gungi. But it's still along that same time.
The force works in mysterious ways.
Right. And I love that aspect of it. I love seeing somebody who's not going to be a full-fledged Jedi ever, I don't think, but does have a little bit of force sensitivity. I mean, people always said Han Solo was force sensitive. That's always been an argument for a while. That's why he's such a good pilot, things like that. Yeah. This is a little more, I think, on the nose than that, but it's kind of cool to see for me. And I loved her. I loved her in the beginning. I loved her and Echo sharing that conversation. It was a great moment there between them. Because Echo did it as well. Doesn't like being alone. Can't stand to be alone because he had that time in Falcon Minor when he was solitary, so he can't do meditation.
He was a solitary clone.
There you go. I think I'm a clone now. That was bad. That was a dad joke. I must admit. All right.
I'll allow it.
All right. Let's move on then to the rest of our segments. We kind of went a little deep dive into both episodes there. The next one of we're going to do both. We're going to do 2 for 1. So we have 2 episodes. We're going to introduce a segment and we'll do both episodes. So first up, we have what we call The Bachelor.
I was hoping for the whole squad, but you'll do.
All righty. This is where we decide which was our favorite character of the episode. It doesn't have to be necessarily even called The Bachelor. It doesn't have to be a member of the Bad Batch. It could be anybody that appears. What was your favorite character of the 7th episode, the Clone Conspiracy?
This one was tough because obviously we didn't get the Bad Batch in episode 7. We got 2 awesome clones. Again, they have this pattern of they will not reveal a clone's name unless it serves a purpose.
Yep.
And more often than not, it's because that clone's probably going to die for a reason. That seems to be the main reason. But my pick for The Bachelor this week is probably going to be a one-time thing. They're probably not going to win this award again. It's Senator Tucci, Bodyguard.
Oh, okay.
The one that stayed there and was fight. Spoiler, like full disclosure, I thought that sniper was Boba.
Did you? Oh, okay, nice.
I thought because obviously because of the training with Aura Singh,
Right,
at this time he's going to be a little bit older.
right.
Obviously, I didn't expect him to be like fully sized, but like late teen, early young man. I would have thought, okay, that would attract for about now. So I would have thought, okay, maybe it's Boba with Aura Singh's rifle with like the scope of this episode. I wouldn't have been surprised. I mean, we had Bale show up.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not Boba? Why not this be the time?
Right.
Another thought went through my head of maybe it was Crosshair, and that this was the mission that Rampart gave him to do.
Can we just kind of interject there real quick before you go on? I was kind of curious about that in terms. I thought it was Crosshair the first moment too. It made sense to me. I was kind of surprised it wasn't Crosshair.
Yeah,
Like, where was Crosshair this was Crosshair less, and it felt like a very much supposed to be a Crosshair. It felt like Crosshair was supposed to be there. I mean, he was like part of like Rampart's crew kind of thing. Being think of Rampart, he's on the clone conspiracy. The solitary clone was his episode with Cody and everything else. It felt weird that Crosshair wasn't there, and it felt even weirder that you had an assassin who was trying to kill someone, and that wasn't Crosshair. It was still a clone, but it wasn't Crosshair.
yeah. I mean, it's kind of cool in that it speaks to the Republic Commando books of them sowing the seeds of distrust within the clones of having like clone assassins go after clone troopers.
Right.
But the point being, Senator Chuchi's bodyguard going one-on-one with the sniper, survive until pretty much the end, holding out for Rex to get there. Bravo, my man. You did well, because as we've seen in the past, bodyguards and doubles don't tend to last very long.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I agree. I actually did have that moment where I was watching, going, "Damn, this guy's doing pretty good for being nameless."
Yeah.
Like, is this guy gonna survive? Is he gonna get a name afterwards? Is he gonna become part of it? Because like that doesn't usually happen. He's usually
That's how you know when a character's important. When they win a fight long enough that they get a name that you're like, okay, he might. If we do get a segment where he's like we do a glove shit over the week, that dude's definitely getting an honorable mention on my list because
100%.
he was awesome. I hope he gets a name.
All right. All right. I like that. Great pick. For myself, I'm going to go, I have to go with a little bit. It might be predictable to a degree, but I got to go with Slip. I think that I did like Slip and Kate in the beginning. I liked Slip with the full beard and everything else. I actually, it's kind of funny when they shot Kate in the beginning and Slip got away. I was like, oh, cool. Slip actually made it. She slipped away. This is a punny episode, a very punny episode. I enjoyed his character for what it was. He reminded me a little bit of Fives, a little bit of, but he still seemed genuinely like his own clone. He had his own experiences, his own thing. And I'm going to put this out there. I wish, and I really wish he had made it to a degree, because I feel like a lot of times now we're getting introduced to clones here and there and then they die. So we have these clones that are left from the Clone Wars, but I would love to get a clone introduced in the Bad Batch who lives and becomes part of the lexicon that we get to see him in the future, or whatever reason. It could be cool. It would have been cool if Slip survived.
We still have Hauser. I'm confident Hauser's still out there.
That's possible.
With the good hair, I think he's still out there.
That's absolutely possible. But I like Slip like I like Hauser for similar reasons to a degree. He was making the right choice here and there. He had his issues, but that's why for me, he is my Bachelor of the Week. So
nice.
All right, let's move on to the next episode then. The 8th episode, Truth and Consequences. Who is your character of the week for Truth and Consequences?
This one was a no-brainer for me, and it involves a name that you just mentioned when you were talking about Slip. Echo is finishing what Five started. Fives couldn't get it done, so Echo's now picking up the mantle because he feels a responsibility. And I feel it's so poetic that he's going back to Rex. He's going back to where it started for him, and he's like, okay, no, I'm finishing this. Because I think even if Hunter had said no, I think Echo was going. I think he was going to go to Coruscant, whether Hunter said, no, I'm not going. We're not going. You're not taking the unit. I think Echo would have just been like, cool, drop me off at the next spaceport. And I'm going to help Rex. And it just shows the finally my guy is getting a moment to shine, a moment in the sun, and it's so well rewarded because it's like it seemed like they were brushing him under the rug, but now he's the one that's like, nope, we're doing this. Because if you notice when he was talking to Hunter, he immediately said to Rex, yeah, we'll be there. And Hunter kind of looked at him like, what? Really?
Right.
And this, like, Echo took the decision away from Hunter. He took the decision away from the leader. He was like, no, we're going. Like,
Right.
this isn't even a debate. This isn't a conversation. We're going.
Right. Damn, that's a good point. I like that. I mean, I had him. I had Echo as my close second. Let's put it that way, because I enjoyed everything about that. I loved Echo in this one. I think what you said about Fives is really touching and really speaks well to me. Although I do get a little scared for him because he might follow Fives in a similar direction.
I've been saying that like since the start. I'm just like him and Tech. I'm like, just protect them. I know Wrecker can look out for himself. Hunter will get out of Dodge if it gets too hairy. But
well, that's the thing. That's what I think I keep thinking about in my head. Like I kind of partitioned off where the Bad Batch were, because quite frankly, even if they aren't around, like even if they, let's say I'm sure they're not all going to die. That's it's a Disney Plus animated show. They're not going to kill off everybody in the Bad Batch. That'd be kind of a weird, really dark thing for them to do. I just can't see it happen. This is not going to go Rogue One style. But I could excuse them not being around during the rebellion, because either they are around in the background or whatever, or else they're off doing missions, or else they're just being the A-Team. They're never part of the actual rebellion. They're just going around doing good. That's because that's how I always pitch the show. It's the A-Team in Star Wars. They go around, they help out the little guy. It's not an overall rebellion angle, but they don't like the Empire. But every time somebody needs your help, you know where they are. They'll find, they'll help you. So that's what I kind of thought. So when Echo was with the Batch, I kind of was like, okay, he could be around still doing stuff. Now that Echo's with Rex, of course, spoiler for Rebels, we find Rex later on with Wolf and Gregor, not with Echo, not with Cody. So I don't know. We're going to have to see what happens with that. Yeah, but I agree. I did like this. I think it's a strong case for Echo. I like the fact that he's moving on. I mean, this could be only a couple episode thing. We've seen this happen before, obviously, like going back to Rebels again. So being left for a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
And then she came back. So I could see it happening, depending on how things go. But either way, for myself, my favorite character of the week, Palpatine. Oh yeah, it's Palpatine. I can't. I mean, that might be an easy thing to say. It's like, oh, it's the biggest bad guy, and why is he in Bad Batch? I mean, but I mean, he just showed again how manipulative, how powerful he is. At the end of the day, I think I wrote my notes. Effing Palpatine, just a badass man. I mean, like,
I was hurling obscenities at my TV when he started, like, because we knew he'd do it. We knew that he would twist the Camino story. I thought he would twist like how it happened, but he just pretty much just went, "Hey man, I had nothing to do with it. It was all that guy. Blame him."
Yep. Boom. So perfect. So perfectly done. He's a master manipulator. One thing I said, like, again, I'll bring up my son watches Clone Wars, but he loves Palpatine for that reason. He's like, God, he just does everything right. And like, it's just, he does everything that he needs to do.
You gotta watch that.
Done. I know. I'm like, wait a minute. Don't love it too much. I mean, I get it, but all right. Let's move on then to our next little segment there. We call this one I Spec.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent. Now get out of here.
This is quite simply our favorite lines of dialogue from the week. Could be humorous, could be heartfelt, could be, in this case, ominous for me. I'll start this one off if you don't mind.
Yeah, go for it.
Favorite line from the Clone Conspiracy episode. The Clone Assassin's one line. Or one of the Clone Assassin's line.
Oh, yeah.
A believer.
Yeah, dude. I completely forgot about that line.
I got chills when that happened. I was like, what does that make you? A believer.
Yeah.
Chills.
Because
wow.
It's like you've essentially turned a clone against everyone else, against all the other like the Bad Batch. They still stun other clone troopers. Like they don't want to hurt each other.
Right.
This guy, they were like, no, they're trying to take away something. You have to go kill them. You have to go kill your brothers. And this guy was like, for you, cool, I'll do it.
Good soldiers follow orders, but this felt even more deep. And I'm going to get into this a little bit more soon. Let's put it that way. I'm going to have a little teaser for one of our next segments going on. But
Okay.
so that was my line of the week for that episode. How about you for this episode?
Mine was from Senator Tucci, and it was curious how speaking up for what's right has become an act that causes a stir.
Very much
And
so.
I feel that that's very prevalent today, because you see a lot of people who will do these things for charity, do these things for good, but they'll do it with a camera in their face, and they'll do it with people walking around with a camera, just like showing, oh, look how great I am, look at all this good that I'm doing. And it's just kind of like when someone actually does something genuinely good in the world, we're like, wow, go you, like,
Absolutely.
good for you. There are good people in the world. It's like, why does that surprise us?
Yeah, it does.
Why is that such a shock?
It shouldn't be, but it does. It is, and it is. It's a great statement. It's a great line, and it certainly signifies the time frame that we're in. Absolutely. So it makes it a strong purpose, especially for someone like Omega to hear that kind of thing. Is like exactly what she says. She's got to understand that that's how it is right now. Unfortunately. All right. Let's get into the second episode there. Your favorite line from The Truth and Consequences. I'll let you go first in this one because I have two, in case you steal one of them.
I think I am probably going to steal one, because mine comes from the greatest unintentional comedian in Star Wars. It's when they fly, which, by the way, that sequence where they fly, they take ramp up, that's such an FU moment. Flying, it's like you're driving a car that's clamped down, and it's like you're just like, you know what, screw the parking meter guy. I'm just gonna drive. I don't care about you've got my car clamped or whatever. They fly the Venator off of the little dock that they've got it on, propel the the escape pods off, crash landing. Hunter goes, not bad. Tech, the greatest unintentional comedian in Star Wars, goes, I was off by 6.4 meters. Not my best work. I was just like, what? You do this on a regular basis?
That was one of the two I had written down. Absolutely. That was one of my favorite moments. It was very funny, very tech. I did love that whole sequence entirely as well. Great action moments. When they set the security off, you had the stormtroopers coming and everything else. Great Star Wars action with the blast doors and everything else. The escape pod, everything was just perfectly done. Chef's kiss. And I would say, what a beautiful shot the downed Venator was against the skyline of Coruscant with the broken down thing. It just looked so perfect. It was so beautifully animated and everything else drawn wise. I loved it. I just wrote that down specifically. It was a beautiful thing.
I thought they were going to take. So real quick, I thought they were going to take off in it.
I kind of thought so too.
When he said we're going over them, I was like, they're not flying that Venator over Coruscant. Because when it crashed, I was like, oh, that was a great plan. Well done. But then the escape pods go flying. I was like, that was a great plan. Well done.
So good. I loved it so much. That was a lot of fun. And it was needed too. We needed a little bit of swashbuckling action to kind of let us from the tension that was in there going on. I'm going to go with my favorite line from Truth and Consequences. The other one of the ones I wrote was the Palpatine one, because this is the way he was dripping. But I actually went with the humor one as well. One of my favorite moments and my favorite bits of the Bad Batch has been the Wrecker and his being scared of heights. I love how they continue at, and it wasn't overdone this episode too much. Like, he kind of just like, you saw him go up something, he goes, you know, but then he goes, I thought he's still scared of heights, huh? And Echo just really goes, this is him better.
Because Rex was like, I thought you said he was better with height. Like, this is him better with height.
Okay, there you go. Perfect. Again, just complete.
What are you going to do when they go to the summit? How's he going to deal then?
That's a good question, my friend. That's a good question. That's a fun one, though. All righty, let's move on then to our next segment. We call this one, Put That in Your Holocron and Snoke It.
Do you ever hear the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise?
Of course, this is where we take a look at something that happened in the episode, and we do maybe a deep dive, or we want to see them do a deep dive on it later on. It could be more in depth later on, something to that effect. But we'll go from here. I'm going to start off, if you don't mind, because it does jump off from my line from from the same episode we're talking about there, the clone conspiracy episode,
Mm.
when the sniper X said, "Oh, believer," it got me thinking. This
Mm.
is like a more dedicated clone trooper than we've seen at this point. Like, we know good soldiers follow orders. They had the inhibitor chips and they were doing their thing. But almost everyone we've seen now has started to question a little bit here and there. We saw Caden slip. We see, even Crosshair to a degree has followed orders, but it's definitely had the moment like in Camino where he had some maybe second thoughts or some considerations. I know that had more to do with the Bad Batch of the family aspect of it. But this sniper, the way he said it to Rex, and he said it so fervently, it almost sounded religious. And I'm wondering, is this a deep dive that we're going to get into at some point? Is there a sect of clones that are like just zealotous about what they did was right? It's almost like they think, holy shit, we killed all the Jedi, and they like start doubting themselves. And in response to that, they go the opposite way and they become like just zealots about the Empire. I have to prove that what I did was right. They can't see any fault in the Empire. The Empire is the greatest thing. They have to be. Otherwise, because if they aren't, then I betrayed my friends and I did that. But if they're the greatest thing, then I'm doing the right things. Following orders is like the freaking Bible to them. So we're going to get more of that. Like it felt like this was because it felt like I said. That's where I said before. It feels like where was Crosshair during this? That role was perfect for Crosshair. That particular thing. There, he's trying to snipe out them. So why have somebody else do it unless you're going to introduce a character that maybe is going to be more important later on? Maybe not the specific character, but maybe that role of the zealotous kind of a clone trooper.
Yeah, and I think you expect it from Crosshair.
Yeah,
I think putting a random clone in there was kind of like, oh wow, these guys they really have been brainwashed because you do have guys like Cade and Slip that are like they're coming to terms with what they did, and Cody coming to terms with what they did. But as we say, sometimes you just get bad people,
right?
Whether it be Palpatine or a clone.
Right.
Some of them are just like, and we see this in everyday life. How many times you check on social media today, and there's that one person there that's just like so deep ingrained in their beliefs that you're just like, dude, you're lost.
Right.
There's nothing.
Well, you are lost.
You are lost. Yep. But again, that's a very apt point. Like Anakin was so far gone that some of these clones, you're just like, we just lost our home.
Yeah.
They took away our home. They're taking away our rights.
Right.
And you're still supporting them. Like you're still like killing for them. Like it's tragic. It is. You want to feel pity for them, but at the same time, it's just like this is what you were made for, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. That's where it is, man. So I interested to see if it does go that way, though. If I am right or not right, it does happen, I'd like to see maybe an exploration of that. Could be kind of cool deeper down. But well, what about you? What are your thoughts? What was your that in your whole kind of Snoke moment for 7th episode here?
I want to see some more Senator Tucci because when we saw her, when we first saw her in the Clone Wars, she was a child. She was shy, timid. Right. She didn't like confrontation. You had the chairman, I can't remember his full name, of the Pantorans.
Yeah. Yep.
Like she did not want to confront him, but by the end of that episode, she was like, "No, like I am the ruler of this planet.
Right.
This is what's right." And then, do you know what? Looking at her and everything in these 2 episodes, I saw Padme. I think if Padme had still been with us, if she was still alive at this point, I think this is exactly what Padme would have been doing. Yeah. She would have been like, look, these clones fought for us. We need to repay them somehow. And she would have been investigating things like Camino blew up. I'm sorry, I don't buy that a planet that's mostly underwater got ruined in a storm.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. I do like that as well. I like Chuchi. I think she's come a long way. I think she's developed quite well over the small amount of episodes we did get to see. So I would like to see more from her as well. She obviously is set for it to be part of the rebellion, possibly, but we didn't see her in Rogue One. We never saw her in the
Mm.
trilogy. We at least saw Palm Lo in Rogue One. We saw obviously Bail Organa at this point. So does she join the rebellion at some point? Does she not? Maybe she. I mean, it's interesting to see. I mean, I don't want to say that because I feel like some sections of the Star Wars fandom get a little, I don't know, not up in arms, but they kind of feel prickly. Like we never saw her during the rebellion, so she can't actually make. She has to die because we never saw her. And like, there's a lot of pieces of the rebellion, and just because we never saw her in that era doesn't mean she wasn't alive during that time. You know what I mean? So I don't know if we need to see here necessarily, but it does make you wonder that because we haven't, Dave can find a way to make an emotional exit for her as well. So it's got like that a little bit of both. So interesting to see what happens. Maybe she'll give some kind of grand sacrifice to towards the end to help out at some point. But either way, I do agree with you. Right, I do like what they're doing with her. I hope they get to see more from her. Yeah, I'll have to see because actually, there's actually is a great segue to my putting that holocron for the next episode for 2.08. I actually want to see more from the Senate. I want to see more of the senators that we haven't seen yet, the ones that we got to know a little bit in Clone Wars, throughout the Clone Wars. Where are they now? Because they were senators for the Republic. Now they're senators of the Empire. We're obviously seeing them split up a little bit. The Ishi Tib going the banking clan way, going more towards the Imperial, the selfish side. Halle Bertoni, former senator, being similar to that fashion. We do have the good side. We have Bail, who is trying to make his way. We know Mon Mothma's that they're trying to at least not do too much while doing a lot more underneath. We see Chuchi. Let's get more into these people. we're finding out where the clones were post Revenge of the Sith. Where are the real people? What happened between Revenge of the Sith and when the Senate is dissolved? I'm going to see some of these characters. It's a good way to catch up with some of these characters. We're at a different spot than they were even a year ago at that point. So that is what I want to see more of, including Chuchi. So how about yourself, my friend?
I want to go with the default. I'm going to go with my default answer. Where the hell has Masameda been? What has he been doing? Like, does he literally just show up to these Senate meetings and he's just like, he just toes the same line every meeting? Where's Palpatine? He's busy. Is that his job? Just to show up and tell people that Palpatine's busy? Because if so, give me like an Office style show where Palpatine is Mike Scott and Masameda is Dwight Schrute. He's the assistant to the general manager.
I like that.
Regional manager.
I like that. That's true.
He's useless.
He is. Although I will point out that I do think he does know things, which I'm always kind of curious. Like they never really pointed out. Like the movies per se is like, well, Masameda was around during Palpatine's rise, but how much did he know? Did he know about the Darth Sidious side of things? We don't really know. Like, yeah, well, that's the thing. We don't really know how much he knew, how much he didn't know. He obviously knows more. And this time he had this whole thing. He's giving some commands there to Ramparts, like, get this done. Get this done. So he has some power through Palpatine. Obviously, he's probably more important than Rampart is at this point. Because he's the one giving Rampart the speech. But he's kind of lacking, so he's more like the voice of Palpatine, if anything else. But it is interesting to see. I actually kind of would like to see more from Mas as well, as far as what he's doing. He could be a good person to be, because like they obviously seem to want to spread the wealth, so to speak. Like that's why we got Rampart. Could have had this be Tarkin the whole time, and then I'd like, well, then you put Tarkin and everything in, it doesn't really work. It just seems silly that he's a movie character, so we got to use him as much as we can.
Where's Tarkin in all this?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's a good question. He's off to his own thing at this point. Who knows?
And like you speak to like did Masameda, I guarantee you Sly Moore knew, because Sly Moore is force sensitive. So guarantee you Sly Moore knew. So was there like a pitting between the two, between Masameda and Sly Moore? And Sly Moore was like, aha, I know. He probably didn't tell you, but I know.
Is she force sensitive in canon? Yes. In canon. Okay, I wasn't sure if that was a Legends thing. Sometimes I get a little fooled. So okay. Oh yeah, and speaking of that, that's what I want to see. I mean, it's another little. I'll give myself a second whole crowd. It's still good. Part of the Senate as well, though. I want to see Slime more because she's always intrigued me as a character from like the moment you saw her in the box at Revenge of the Sith and everything else. Andor, and she's mentioned in Andor. I would like to see more of her. Maybe we could have a whole little episode of something where we have Moss and Sly and those people together, and let's see how that works. I mean, I would see more. So that's a good thing for me as well. get that. So, alrighty, let's move on then to part 6 out of 11. This is where we are going to rate this episode between 1 and 11, because we always turned up to 11 on PLD projects.
It's a ship that made the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
Less than 12, which is 11. So we'll start with you with the first episode, the 7th episode of the Clone Conspiracy. What are you going to give this one?
This was a 10. This was a 10 out of 11. These two episodes, well, both of them, I'm just spoiling it. I'm giving both of them 10. Both, also the tension throughout both episodes was just like, had me gripped the entire time. Like, okay, what's happening? What's going on? Oh, okay, like something's building, but I don't know if it's gonna happen this episode, if it's gonna happen in these two episodes, or if they're gonna pull like a bait and switch and be like, aha, nope, we're gonna save that for later.
I like that.
Awesome.
I hate to be boring. I hate to really be as boring, and we're not gonna have any fight scenes. I did the exact same thing. I gave them both 10s. It really felt like one long episode to me, honestly. So I speak like it's just I gave them that arc of 10. So, but it was exactly the kind of thing. Like there's a lot that happened this episode, a lot of episodes, a lot of adventure, a lot of also some deep-seated moments of where the galaxy is at this time. And I feel like more and more, that's what this story is about. That's what the Bad Batch story is about. It's about two things. It's about this family of troopers who are like the A-Team going around doing good and discovering themselves and where they fit in the galaxy. But the other main storyline to tell in the Bad Batch, where is the galaxy directly after Order 66? Directly after the formation of the Empire, between here and Rogue One and everything else. This is the beginning parts and seeing how that republic was massaged or forced into becoming an empire. And we're getting that. So this is definitely exactly what we wanted to say. So
I find it interesting that we're only a few years apart from Revenge of the Sith, and it's already starting to fall apart.
Are we
starting to fall apart?
Are we even that far yet? I don't even know what the time frame is at this point. I feel like we're still the first year.
Maybe through. Yeah, but even so, like it's already falling apart for Palpatine.
Because according to Wikipedia, real quick, it says 19 BBY, which is the same year as Revenge of the Sith. We're still in the first year of his according to, I don't know if that's I don't know where they get that from necessarily, if it's accurate or not. But if we're still in the first year.
Damn, Chief. You gotta get your house in order, my guy.
But he is, though. That's the thing, is he is getting his house in order. That's the thing.
He's doing a pretty crappy job of it right now.
I don't know. He got exactly.
We want that. That's what we want. We don't want him to get his house in order. Like Bad Batch are just like a constant thorn in his side, and he doesn't even know that they exist.
That's great.
He probably has no idea who they are. He's like, Clone Force 99, who the hell are they? But Tarkin's just there like, those King clones again.
Can we get a Palpatine as Thanos moment? I don't even know who you are.
Yeah,
I love it. All right, let's move on to the final segment before we wrap things up here. Force Visions, what we call the
Premonitions.
This is, of course, where we take a look and see what are they going to say in the future of Bad Batch. Could be next episode, could be a couple weeks from now, could be just in general future. We don't know yet. Could be in a different Star Wars tale, as they all are obviously interconnected. For me, I'm going to predict that at some point it's going to be in this season. I'm hoping, probably this season. I think we're going to see a team up of Rex, Cody, and Echo, just like the old days. I'm going to say, I don't know what they're going to be doing, but something good, something to save some people, something to save some clones, and maybe, just maybe, get to see a 5-person troopers if they add Wolf and Gregor to the mix, and we get all 5 of them together.
Yeah.
So we have a Bad Batch episode that's Bad Batchless, and this is like the new Bad Batch, so to speak, for a day.
Spin off from the Bad Batch to the Rad Batch.
There you go. I love it. I want to 6. I still want to see that whole. I know I'm pushing. It's kind of a little bit of a push what I did before. And I still want to see that Rex and Cody thing. It's got to happen at some point.
Yeah, it's got to happen.
So those, and adding Echo to the mix, that makes it even better. So that's it for me, my friend. What about you?
He's coming home. I mean, we've lost one member of the Bad Batch. My boy's, he's got to come back. Crosshair's got to come back.
Redeeming the unredeemable of Crosshair, huh?
I don't know if we get him redeemed, but maybe he's like, where's Echo? Where is he? You guys let him go off? oh, fine. Maybe it's his way of just being like, oh, you know what? I'll tag along with you for a mission. I'll sort you out with this. When really he's just like, dude, guys, let me come home. I don't want to be here anymore.
I definitely want to get something similar. I do think Crosshair will eventually be, redeemed to a degree. I think what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think it's going to involve. I think it's going to involve Omega because they shared that moment in Camino. Either he's going to get beaten down by Rampart. He'll do everything he's asked to do, everything he's asked to do, everything he's asked to do. But like along the way, he'll like do everything he's asked to do, and he gets shit on still. Everything he has to do, he gets shit on still. He never gets his command back. He gets tired of getting treated like shit, and finally he gets asked to kill Omega. Like Omega breaks in, and there's somehow they're about to kill somebody, and then he's like, you know what? The Empire is treating my shit. I'm not gonna kill this child this time. Get a little bit of Hunter in him.
You've just sparked a genius thought in my brain.
Yeah.
It was genius in my brain. What if Rampart asks Crosshair for help out, and Crosshair's like, "No,
Right.
I'm not helping you after everything you've done. Hell no." But the Bad Batch is like, "Hey, we could use this guy."
Right.
Or Rex and Cody are like, you know what? If we spring this guy, he's probably got a lot of information that we could use.
Could be. That could go down. There's a lot of different ways we can get there, but I like the idea of using him in a way.
And that's how they get to Mount Tantus, maybe, because Rampart may know a thing or two.
Maybe trade some information, so to speak, at that point. Then Rampart leaves too, which would be kind of cool because Rampart can't go back to the Empire, but he can find his own way to do his own kind of thing at some point. I like that. Gives up a little more. Anytime you have a little more space in the galaxy to have some more interactions with different characters in different fashions, it makes it for more exciting stories. So yeah, I kind of like that too. I wouldn't be surprised if we do see something like that. Good call. Good call.
Because then you have like Crosshair being like, really, we got to help this guy?
Right.
I didn't sign up for this, but fine, whatever, let's do it.
I like that a lot. Sweet. All right, then that's our last segment of this episode of Holy Snokes. Anything else that you wanted to touch base on from these two episodes that we didn't really get to mention?
Just to check my notes real quick. No, not really. I got my thing in there about the "A Few Good Men" quote. That was the big one I had to get out. But yeah, no, I'm good. I love this episode. Can't wait for these two episodes. Can't wait for the next one.
All right. I do a couple quick things I want to mention. First of all, boom, Coruscant. It was great seeing Coruscant again. It was great seeing the Senate again. It was this actually felt more like a Clone Wars episode than any other Bad Batch. It felt like it was a real episode of Clone Wars, to be honest with you. As a Clone Wars fan, I'm highly appreciative of that. But either way, it's good to see Coruscant. I also like the fact that we used the Bartez garage. The Rex kind of brought them back.
Oh, yeah.
Rex is like, yeah, I have a couple of friends who I have a place I can put them. And these people, they don't go way back. They're doing something right now. So
this is where I've been at work all day. I only got to watch it once, but yeah, he did mention that. And when he said that, I was kind of like, huh. I wonder if nah. But then you mentioned it like it was just like a fleeting thing that went out of my brain, and now you bring it up. I'm like, oh yeah, he did know them.
Yeah, absolutely, because he's the one that brought him into it in the first place. So yeah, I like that quite a bit. Those fun little touch. And finally, I want to throw out actually two more things real quick. Echo offering to testify was a kind of a cool moment, very much in his character. He's like, I'll testify, I'll be that guy for you.
Yeah.
But no, even though that's him again, leaving the Bad Batch without leaving the Bad Batch yet. Or that step out the door. In hindsight, it makes a lot more sense now.
I like that they said they couldn't because they're deserters and no one would trust them.
Right, and that's true. It's very true. And much as Echo doesn't want to hear that, it's true. Final bit, I want to shout out Kevin Kiner. Again, I always love Kevin Kiner, but I am grown to love his Omega theme, which is kind of like sort of a Bad Batch theme, but also an Omega theme, specifically an Omega theme. Just like the Ahsoka theme, like it just grown on me over the course of the seasons. I didn't love the Ahsoka theme at first, but I really love it now, and I'm just starting to fall in love with Omega's theme. The more I hear it, the more I hear different versions of it. The slower version here, I'm like, this is just so nice. It reminds me this is the Bad Batch. I love this show so much. So shout out to Kevin Kiner. I hope he never leaves us, and I hope we get more and more. I hope he gets a live action show. I hope he gets everything, because he is my favorite Star Wars composer. No offense, Ludwig. But my favorite composer post John Williams is Kevin Kiner, because he's the one that perfectly uses his original stuff. His original stuff is very memorable with Ahsoka and with Omega and everything else as well. but he also is the best to incorporate the Williams stuff at the perfect time. He knows when to use the Williams stuff and when not to. So
he's very much like, I'm going to pay homage to John Williams, whereas Ludwig's very much a punk. He's just like, screw that. I'm going to make something as just as awesome, but completely different. I'm not going to take from John Williams. I'm going to take from Ennio Morricone. There's even some Trent Reznor,
right? Yeah,
like, influences in his stuff, and I'm just like, damn, okay, I see what you're doing.
Yeah, and I love that too. I'm not gonna say I don't love that as well, but yeah. So give me some Kevin Kiner anytime. So there we go. All right, so I guess that will do it for this week's episode, but not for Holy Snokes this week. We do have one more episode we are going to record. We're going to record tomorrow, and I believe I'm going to put it out on Saturday is my goal right now.
Okay.
We have an episode although maybe I will just put it out tomorrow night potentially, because I was going to move it on Saturday because our initially Thursday night is our two mediocre white dudes on film, but unfortunately PJ and I had scheduling issues. We couldn't get together again this week, unfortunately. Hopefully next week we'll get back together. So I don't have an episode for tomorrow now, so maybe I will just drop it tomorrow night depending on how I can get it edited. But here it is. More importantly, that's not right. There we go. There it is. The solo celebration featuring Paul Preston and Adam Witt. That's right. This is going to be a blast. We have been talking about doing an episode for a little bit. This will be our first non-review-oriented show. All of our episodes have involved reviewing the Bad Batch. All our episodes in the future are going to have Bad Batch reviews, Mandalorian reviews. We had ideas in our head about wanting to do some more non-review-based content, but it just hadn't come up yet. We were going to wait until something happened or do a bonus episode. Well, movie guys had a conversation. They wanted to come and do a crossover of their Ford Fiesta, which is why that celebration is spelled the way it is. It's not spelled wrong. It's spelled the way it is. Doing a little alliteration, a little joke, a little pun. But we're going to be talking all about Han Solo, Harrison Ford in Star Wars. Should be a blast.
I love the Ford Fiesta podcast. It's one of my favorite shows because, I have never met two people who are just so naturally funny.
Oh God!
Than Adam and Paul. Like, we had Adam on the what was Holy Snokes before Holy Snokes, Class Andor. So, but yeah, just even being around the two of them in person, you can't not laugh. And I will go on record. I don't think even Harrison Ford's family know as much about Harrison Ford as Adam and Paul do, because I watch their live streams. It's one of my favorite things to do if they go live on a Monday evening for me, is just come home, sit and watch those guys talk about Harrison Ford and pull up old Japanese beer adverts that Harrison Ford appeared in, and these little facts they have about Harrison Ford. It's so great. I can't wait to talk about to celebrate Harrison Ford. The solo celebration.
Oh, it's going to be so good. It's going to be so fun. So fun. I love it so much. They're funny. They're lovely. They're lovely people as well. So I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. So that should come out this week. Hopefully tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then it would be Saturday. Yeah. Of course, two mediocre white dudes on film will hopefully return next week. Class Action will return next week with hopefully more than just Matty Gunner. We do have Crown Jewels Journey Through Queen.
Don't ever do that to me again.
On Friday, we're doing Misfire, which is the first John Deacon penned tune, which is a lot of fun. And yeah, that should do it. Please hit like and subscribe. And if you want to help the channel out even more, patreon.com/PLD projects. We have a great Facebook chat. We do some extra content. Hopefully going to do a live watch along or hangout this month. Still to be determined at this point. Still looking at some things. I want to shout out a couple of patrons, specifically Brandon Buckingham, Jeff Alterman, John Lestrina. Really appreciate you guys for keeping the lights on. And yeah, that's it. Until next time, folks. I hope you guys love the Bad Batch like I do. Hope you love like we do. Hope you love the show like we do. Hope you're getting your kicks out of Holy Snokes. We really love doing this podcast. Yeah, and we can't wait for Mandalorian to start. We'll be doing double duty, Bad Batch and Mandalorian episodes. I can't wait. I love talking Star Wars. All right. Until next time, may the Force be with you, everybody. Always. May the Force be with you. Always.